How about that? On time. Can you believe that? Wow. Today's a holiday in Colombia, Independence Day or something like that, I think. I don't pay much attention to the holidays. They seem to have one every Monday. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things going on. It was a good but boring game yesterday. I felt very bad because Messier was crying at the end of the game because he knows it's his last World Cup performance for Argentina. He doesn't do international play anymore, I don't think. They have these tournaments and stuff during the year. I don't think he plays for Argentina during the year. Uh, just plays in the World Cup. And he played this one. But I don't think he played in the last one because he was kind of finished with it, and then he came back. And, you never know with him. But he's 39 years old. The next World Cup's in 4 years. He'll be 43. I honestly don't think he's going to be in any kind of shape. He's good now for spurts of energy and whatnot. The rest of the time he walks around, and it's sort of like Ronaldo used to do. Ronaldo's still playing after 40, but this was his last World Cup too. So I think the two superstars of that generation are gone. So it was very sad to watch him cry at the end of the game. He's a good player. He gave it his best. He tried. He's good at the sharing. He wasn't trying to score a goal by himself. He was trying to pass it off and help people out. And things just didn't go their way. And it was kind of boring, especially in the first half. A defensive game where the most goals scored is usually one or two is kind of really, and then you get none. Trust me, there's not a lot of excitement. There were no real big fights or anything. Didn't look like they liked each other. There was one player I wanted to see get his face broken open, but that happens in all sports. So it was a nice afternoon with my stepson and my grandchild and his wife, who I happen to like. He was a nice person. And, we just have to wait and see what's going on now, down the road. Down the road we go, folks. So I'll have to just wait and see. Let's see. I think we did that. We did that. Okay. Now here's something. The Department of Defense is saying it needs more money. Now, at the start of this war, we were selling stuff to other countries and everything seemed to be all right. Our stockpiles were at the top and everything like that. And I'm not sure, but it would appear that they used all our best stuff, except for nukes and stuff like that, on Iran, and it didn't work. And now they're running out of backup supplies, from what I understand, and they're running out of money. So Trump has successfully put the United States in a very, very, very precarious situation, security-wise, because he is a moron. And you could see what he wanted to do yesterday in the game. At the end of the game, he went off and he stood to the side with the team, and they didn't want him standing up there with the team. It was his team photograph. It wasn't him and the team. And the FIFA director had to come and get him off, and he wasn't real happy about it. He was pissed. So, that's Trump. And he never got to say a word. Nobody handed him a microphone. They don't trust him. His own people don't trust him. And they weren't going to let him turn this into a political charade, which is what he was probably trying to do. But I don't know what we're going to do with this more financing for the defense, because we're already broke, most Americans, unless they're already rich. If they're rich, they're getting richer. If they're broke, they're getting broker. And I'm getting broker. Gasoline's back up to $4 a gallon. And you have to understand that they've spent a lot of time going back building the big cars again, low gas mileage and whatnot, instead of building electric cars and other things, I I don't know how they charge you for electricity on an electric car. It just doesn't. If I plug it into my house, what's to prevent them, getting the adapters and everything and just plug it into my garage? It doesn't seem like it's a big deal. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that stuff. I wrote something cryptic here. Trump JP. JP is supposed to, Trump Jr. maybe? He's in the process of helping his father sell the country. Yeah, that's another asshole. I don't know, assholes everywhere. Uh, Trump went into this Iran situation like, I guess it was Bush that went into Afghanistan and Iraq and whatnot. They have no way, no plan to get out. I think they're thinking of the old days where you walked in, you ransacked the country, either took the country over and it became part of your country, or you just let it sit there and rot. And, they had no plan to end it, legally or otherwise. This is an illegal war, so there's no way of ending it legally. Because theoretically, it's not a war. And he's just sitting there, shooting his mouth off. And when you get 30 miles to the gallon, let's just say an estimate of 30 miles to the gallon in one of these SUVs, and you drive it to work, okay, that's a minimum of $8 a day in gas. Bare minimum. $8 a day in gas. And you have parking and everything else. It turns out to be about a $50 a day or better to go to work. I think it's more than that. I think I looked into it when I had a chance to take a job in New York City. It turned around and said I'd have to make a hell of a lot of money, for it to be worthwhile. And it wasn't a hell of a lot of money. It wasn't bad money, but it wasn't a hell of a lot of money. So that took care of that one, But it's costly. I don't know how people commute to New York. You have the tolls. I forget what they're up to now. They're talking 20 years since I've been driven in the area. So I really don't know what the tolls are up to now. But it costs you about $50 a day just to get to the city, and then you got to park your car. Which unless you have someplace to park your car, it can get very expensive. And no companies don't. These people that have these low-paying jobs are barely making a living, and $4 gas, makes it. And bus fares go up, so there's no real break there. Where do you get a break? I don't know. I really, really, really don't know. But it's a mess, and for people, and I'm just talking about what I know about New Jersey, and you have other states that are just as bad, if not worse, in terms of commuting for work. That's why there's people who live down here. They work for companies in the United States. Okay, they have no commute expense. They don't pay taxes in the United States. It's pretty cool, They may or may not contribute to Social Security. I doubt if they contribute to Social Security or anything like that. They don't contribute to anything, but they don't take anything. They do get benefits. From what I understand, the benefits are better for these jobs. And I don't know whether they're career-long jobs. I don't know what they are. but I just know these people work for companies in the United States, and they're very, very happy about it. And they don't know what they would do if they lose their job, so they don't push the issue, you know, of having your employer thousands of miles away in a different time zone and everything, and trying to figure out what he knows or what they don't know what you're doing. I mean, I'm assuming they have a certain amount of work that they have to produce so that they can get paid. But that's just them. I mean, the same job working for that same job in America, you can't afford to work for them because it's even though down here it may seem like it's a great paycheck. Up in the United States, it barely covers your grocery bill. You know. Speaking of which, it's getting expensive down here too. Uh, I don't know what's going to happen when I'm gone because my wife has no conception of money other than she tries to hide it rather than pay bills. She pays the bills, but she tries to hide money too. And she spends money like I do on personal stuff. She sees something she wants, she goes buys it. If the company she's dealing with doesn't have it, she says, "Jeff, can you please order this from Amazon?" You know, and I can't just shipping is twice the price. I end up paying twice the price for the article if I don't get free shipping, and to get free shipping, I have to buy more shit. That's how they get you. They really it's really a good deal for them. And it's a bad deal for me, but that's where the free shipping comes in. You have to make a minimum of a $35 purchase. So this is the cost of living, and it gets more and more expensive. And I don't know what's going to happen to the world. I have a bad feeling about everything, and I get that all the time. People say you're a pessimist. I don't know if I'm necessarily a pessimist in this case, but I might be, and I might be deservedly so from the way the situation's been going. I mean, I see no relief from Trump in the near future, unless he dies, and then I don't see any relief economically because the other people are just as greedy as he is. And Vance is no economic genius. I mean, he doesn't belong in government. Apparently, you run business. You run it as a totalitarian society where you make the decisions how much money you're going to have to spend, and it's these businesses that Trump and his friends are involved in that require uh, what's the term I want? Oh, I used to know this term real good. It was funny. Um, Cash that's not needed, for other expenses, extra money, so you can buy a TV or you can go on vacation. These companies are going to be start to hurt real bad pretty soon because when the economy goes bad, people ain't got money except food and stuff like that. They don't have any money for new TVs. They don't have any. And of course, in this day and age, people will go. People go out and spend $100 or $1,000 on an iPhone every year. That phone doesn't go bad, and so far as I know, there's not a great new technology in it. But because they use it as cameras and everything else, yeah, they want the best camera, they want the new lens and everything like that. But then you look at the pictures they take; they're not making money out of these pictures. They're not using the camera for business, so you know, it, there's no way to write it off or anything. So it's just an expense for your ego to take selfies and sit around they use them for the phone for a computer, and it's the most insecure piece of equipment you have. Anybody that wants to hack that can hack that. It's not hard. The systems aren't safe. They tell you they are. They are not safe. There's, you know, before there was a saying: if you wanted if you, the average bank robber in America that walked into the bank with a gun would get around $30,000 if he was lucky. All right, and that's not that at one point in time that might have been a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money anymore. Okay, it's barely covers the expenses of robbing the place. They went out and say I'm cleaning house while I'm talking to you people. This is live television, man. So they come out with this cyber robbery. These guys that go around and rob banks with a computer. And they were doing this about this Russian guy who controls most of the young kid who robs banks and stuff like that. And his average take was something like $1 million, over $1 million. And tax-free cash, that's a lot of money. So, they tout this crypto thing as being the securest, and somebody just lost, I don't know whether it was Musk or somebody else, lost like $2 billion was stolen out of his crypto account, and they don't know where. The thing about that is they can't trace that money. If they manage to steal it, it's gone, So I don't know how you figure this shit out, but it's like hard to make it hard to hold on to it appears. Right? Okay, now this wasn't depressing. This was just boring shit today. So that's it. You guys have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow. Sleepy-eyed, still going bald, still fat. What can I tell you? Guys, have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Where do you go? Oh, there it is. Ta-da!